He'll come out to you, do your work, whatever you need done, your regular maintenance, or if you're broke down on the side of the road, give him a call. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 336-423-6241. You don't even have to see me. Just let me know what's wrong with your car, and I will come and fix it, y'all. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, I'm on the Twitters. Whatever you guys need, 336-423-6241. As always, I'll be seeing you.
Find your next car at Auto Store of North Carolina in Walkertown. Their goal is to make car shopping and car buying experience fast, friendly, and easy. They have helped hundreds of customers get behind the wheel of a newer, reliable, quality used car, and they can help you too. Stop by and speak with one of their sales professionals today and drive away with your new car. The Auto Store of North Carolina, 4964 Reedsville Road in Walkertown. Give them a call at 336-595-8550 and view the current inventory of vehicles at autostoreofnc.com.
Pardon me, D-Dot here, and as the voice of the Greensboro Swarm, PA for the Hornets, and the sixth man of Carolina basketball, I do it all, just like Beamer Tire and Auto. Alignments, new tires, NC State inspections, oil changes, they do it all. And with 3 locations in High Point, Greensboro, and Kernersville, B-Dot and B-Tar, yes, we do it all. If you need details, visit beamertire.com.
When I think of Mountain Valley Hospice,
I think of teamwork,
caring,
honesty.
The one word that I would say to describe Mountain Valley is we're family.
You're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson.
Like to have everybody's attention for a moment.
There's a stat. I don't like bringing up stats, but there's one stat about the Panthers.
In the world is James Harden better scorer than Michael Jordan?
No, he's more creative in that.
Traveling is not creative, Brandon.
He doesn't.
You know, no matter what the score is, and they've said it themselves, whether they're up 10, down 20, whatever, they know they can turn it on whenever.
Why did you have to bring up the Cowboys in this conversation?
Lived in Texas for 2 years and just could not stand to watch Cowboys football.
All right, listen up.
Welcome to The Rundown. Here's Desmond Johnson.
Happy Saturday morning here in the Triad, WWBG 1470 AM. It is The Rundown. Season 5 finale off for the summer after this episode. Might be back next Saturday if the NBA Finals are still going on, but I don't think they're going to be. Brandon Blakney, Ryan Stone, Larry Frank in the house for this Saturday morning. Got a couple things to get to, get you ready for a lot of sports that are going to be happening later on today at noon. The College World Series right here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Wake Forest hosting the Super Regional at the Couch, taking on 16th-ranked Oklahoma. It's a best-of-3 series. We're actually starting off talking a little baseball. So if you want to chime in, if you're a Wake Forest fan, you want to chime in about your squad, feel free to do so. You can do so by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio, or you can just do it on our Facebook watch if you're here, and you can comment there about what's going on. Gentlemen, what's happening on this beautiful June Saturday morning?
How you doing? Another day in paradise, baby. We alive and healthy.
So the past 2 weeks I've had panels that I've been blessed to have that I know are baseball fans. And a lot of people know I'm not that huge of a baseball fan. Although I will say this past year doing high school baseball kind of got me back into it again. I think it's different when you're there, like when you're at the park. It's just a different vibe than trying to get into it on television. So for me, actually being there and, you know, the smells and the sounds and everything else, it kind of brought back a lot of stuff for me from like childhood when I was really into baseball. So for me, seeing this Wake Forest team be as good as they are, Wake is the team to beat here, correct? Like they are, they're the number 1 ranked team in the country, but it feels like they've been number 1 by far, like the entire season, right?
Well, they're the most dominating team in all of college baseball right now. I mean, you look at every aspect of this team and Ryan, I know you follow them as well. If you look at this team from pitching to fielding to offense, to every aspect of the game, they're a complete team. To guess what? They got 3 number one starters on this team, led by Rhett Lauder, who's 14-0, 1.77 ERA. He'll be going in today. He's up for the Spikes Award, which is the best player in college baseball award. I mean, this team is a complete team. They got two guys in the middle that can hit home runs, and everybody 1 through 9 can get on base. And when you have that and add that to a solid bullpen, it's going to be very, very tough to beat. Now, that doesn't mean that it's handed to them. They still got to go out there, execute, and play. We all remember what happened last year when Tennessee went out there. They played the Irish, and the Irish upset them. But this is going to be a team that's difficult to beat. They're not just the number one seed in the Super Regional. They're number one in the nation, and there's a damn good reason why they are.
They were.
Go ahead, Ron.
I mean, they were not ranked number one most of the season. LSU was for a lot of the season, but it should have been. It should have been Wake Forest. Like Wake Forest kind of got disrespected. I think that the SEC kind of boosted LSU up a little bit, and understandably so. I mean, the SEC has five teams.
I think too, it was LSU's roster, man. Them transfers they got in like that. It was all hype. I feel like,
they can. I mean, they have a ton of power in that order. But like Larry said, the pitching that Wake has at the top of their rotation is unreal. 1 through 9, they can hurt you. I mean, I did a UNCG game with them earlier in the season, and they were ranked, I think, 4th at the time. And I looked at in like middle of the game, I think they had 16 runs already. They scored 20 that night. And
they averaged 9.3 runs a game this year.
I looked at my color guy, we were in a commercial break midway through, and I was like, this is the best team in the country. There's no way they're not. I mean, they're just
They're 50 and 10.
I mean, now, like Larry said, it's not handed to them. They got to play an SEC team today. They're Alabama's one of the hottest teams in the country as well. They've won 10 of the last 12 games. So this is not going to be an easy super regional.
It kind of reminds you of the basketball team, what they had going on with like the turmoil. Because Alabama's got that scandal going around them too, and they're just playing through it.
So this is also, guys, remember, a team that in the regional that just went on. Now, first of all, let's give credit where credit is due to the Wake Forest fans who stayed during that inclement weather and just packed the house. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, unbelievable crowd, and they show you how much they love their baseball. But this is a team that rolled through the last regionals by outscoring their opponents. Listen to this, Ryan. 48-7.
What?
It's getting ugly out there, man. It just shows you like the state of North Carolina baseball in general right now, because you look at the UNC Charlottes of the world that are upsetting top seed Clemson, and like just them, ECU, Coastal down there in South Carolina. Like the state of baseball in the Carolinas is really good.
Duke,
18.
Duke beat Virginia yesterday in game 1. So I mean, and shout out to a Grimsley Whirly, Tyler Albright had made that game-winning catch.
Dude, he's a freshman, and I think he hit like 305, bro.
Is that Ethan's kid?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, he was a hell of a basketball player and a football player too.
Give Duke some credit yesterday. I mean, they went down in that game. I believe it was 4-3. They took the lead, and then what a great ending. We posted it, I know, on Frankly Speaking Baseball and Tobacco Road Sports Radio. I think shared it. The ending to that game where it looks like they're going to lose because it's a home run and then it's caught at the fence. Just a great game and a huge win for Duke. Let's not forget them. They're another team that's going to be, I don't see them going far, but they're in there. They're doing something.
They're overachieving already, I think, at this point.
Exactly. I mean, not just Albright, but their starting pitcher yesterday was a freshman. Their closer was a freshman.
Like they're young.
They're young team.
I wanted to take a second to give a special shout out to some local talent that's involved in all this stuff. First of all, over in Oklahoma, the softball team, Kirsten Deal, East Forsyth graduate, standout pitcher here for their softball team, led them to 2 state title appearances. Actually, me and Ryan called the one year before last. Oh no, we did both.
She was on live with Brandon Blakney.
I think JP did the one last year. Yeah, JP did because it was out of town. But she's played too. She was coming in doing some closing or whatnot. Oklahoma on this like UConn type level of just dominance. They're like 50 8-3 or something over the past.
They've won like 51 games in a row, 53 games in a row, or something like that.
So, and they dominated. They won the girls' college World Series a day or two ago. And then Josh Harrell, part of that pitching tandem here at Wake Forest. Reagan standout. We did do that. Reagan Fuquay Varina, let's say 2021, I think it was the 4A state final. Fuquay Varina actually won that. I think 2-1. But we got a chance to see Josh there, and that was right when in his senior year, and they were saying he was going to get drafted like first round.
He was going to be a first-round pick, and I think that's what everybody thought he was going to do. And I remember being a couple weeks later being surprised that he decided to go to Wake Forest.
I remember us talking about it like in a lightning storm on top of a metal chicken coop looking type thing at Burlington Athletic Park, because it was right before, like, we didn't know anything about like NIL hadn't officially, I don't think was there yet. I think it was being talked about, but it wasn't official. So we were like, or it just happened. So we're like, well, we can see why he's going to Wake because he can actually make some money now by going to college for a couple of years instead of being in, a farm system or whatnot. But I'm curious about this game. I actually have to leave at noon, but with it being on ESPN, it is going to be on ESPN at noon today. So as soon as you're done here, you can flip it right over there and watch the Wake Forest Super Regional. I'm hoping it's going to be on ESPN Radio. I
don't know if it's on ESPN Radio, but you can listen to it on Learfield. I know.
Can you? Okay, I got to figure out which channel.
Stan Cotton and Larry Sorensen are broadcasting it.
That's right. Let me figure out where that is.
Shout out to Wake too, man. Like they just recruit local talent really, really well. Even the incoming classes. Yeah,
there's a lot
of talent coming.
I mean, and see, I'm tentative because I just came off of a season producing for East Forsyth baseball. Here in Kernersville, where they were nationally ranked for most of the year and number one in the state, and then they just kind of petered out right at the very end for a number of reasons, probably. But I don't want to get too geeked about Wake because I just did that with East, like following them all year, and then it kind of petered out at the end. I hope that doesn't happen to Wake. It doesn't seem like it will, although it's kind of like the same path where they're just dominating throughout the season. But Wake hasn't fallen off. Wake feels like they're getting stronger.
Wake just needs to play their game. They can't think too much outside the box. Do the things you've been doing all year long to get to this point, playing great fundamental baseball. Don't let the hype get to you. And that's easier said than done. But that's where coaching comes in. That's where you need your coach to go ahead and keep everybody even keel. But at the end of the day, they know what they're playing for. They are the best team in baseball. Now it's just a matter of going out there and doing the things you've been doing all year and take the trophy home.
I want to say real quick before we flip the page here, I'm keeping it Wake Forest centric as we move away from college baseball. We do have a new TikTok account that we're putting up new bits and odds and ends and things there for you to catch throughout the week. I'm still new to TikTok, so I'm still trying to figure out how exactly to share this. I guess it's underneath my name. It's Desmond Johnson 841, or you can just search Tobacco Road Sports Radio. It should pop up. There's some Frankly Speaking shorts in there, some shorts from the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. We'll probably start throwing some live from Brandon Blakney stuff in there as well. Just little clips of TikTok. I'm leery of TikTok because I see my wife go down that rabbit hole like every night and just like disappear for like 2 hours on TikTok, and she's just doing this the whole night. I'm like, what are you doing? And it's like some deep hole on something, and it's just like, you've been on TikTok for like a while. So I mean, I'm a little worried about it, but that seems to be where all the kids are. So go check that out. Go subscribe to that. Keeping it Wake Forest centric, Chris Paul, the Phoenix Suns announced that they're probably going to be waiving Chris Paul earlier this week. Now, people have said that this is just a cost-cutting move. They're going to try to re-sign him back at a lower price, although Chris might be able to get more out in the open market if he chooses to. My question, I guess, to the panel would be, should Chris Paul retire? And if not, what would be the best spot for him to land, if not in Phoenix? Brandon, let's start off with you.
Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of chatter about them potentially doing like a sign and trade situation of Phoenix getting James Harden and Chris Paul going out to 76ers. Like, it's been going around for a little while, but it's really starting to pick up momentum right now. And like, seriously, it's seeming like it could be a really feasible option, to be honest with you. So I think him and Joel Embiid, if they get some shooters around, that could be a really good team. I think they could actually run better with Chris Paul than James Harden. I know that sounds crazy, but I think just in the pick and roll game, him and Embiid, if they get shooters around him, Chris can still put the ball in the bucket. Like, he still got some tread on the tires. So I'm hoping, he gets a chance to win a championship. But if they get some shooters, they could pay Chris less, bring in more depth, bring in more talent around them. But a pick and roll with CP3 and Embiid, and you get a nice wing piece, they'd be all right.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. Ryan, your thoughts on it?
I think, well, if Chris wants to win a championship, I think Boston is his best move, because that's it. That team needs leadership, and that's what he does. And they kind of need somebody down the stretch that'll just dictate where the ball is going and what they're going to do, because they kind of get lost on offense at times. It seems like
they someone to lead.
I mean, they got 4 point guards, and that's the problem. They got too many.
They have 4 point guards. They don't have a true point guard. And I have also seen, like Brandon said, the sign and trade thing. I've also seen one for Marcus Smart going to Phoenix and Chris Paul going to Boston.
So, I will say LA too. I wanted to
saving the LA take.
I wanted to say that too. LA would be my second if he wants to win a ring.
I think LA is where he's going. I think LA is where he's going to go.
That would be magnificent. That would be magnificent.
He still has a house in LA from being with the Clippers for 8 years or whatever. Larry, your thoughts before I chime in here. What's the bet? I haven't heard anything about Chris Paul retiring yet. Like, I mean, the man's played 19 years. He's made.
Well, you're about to
look at. I don't want to be in his pockets, but I don't want to be in his pocket. I think my man's made over like $300 million in NBA salary over the past 2 decades. So it's not like
why play? I mean, listen, and I'm going to give you my take. I agree he still has some tread on the tires. I agree with you guys, and I agree with Ryan that if he is going to go somewhere, I really do believe Boston would be the best fit, because I think Boston's a leader away from winning a championship. And I think even though he may not bring on the court what he used to bring, he still brings something. He brings a facet of the game that they need, which is called leadership. And that's important to win championships. Now, on the other side of it is, I don't think Chris Paul is on an upward swing in his career. What he's played, 18, 19
It's like 38 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on a downward. There would be nothing wrong with him saying this is it. Yeah. This is not a bad time. It's a good time to walk away. Okay,
I mean, he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right. He doesn't have to prove anything else unless, like Ryan said, does he want to just play to win another championship? And I think the ultimate goal that every player is, especially as you get older, is to win another championship. I would say, let's end it.
But I will say this: Chris Paul did come out and say that he wanted to play several more years already. So that's
he did say that. Yeah. But what you say and what you're able to do physically, Father Time takes over. We want to play, but sometimes we don't realize as athletes our time is done. And once again, he brings something to a team.
Yeah, he's not done.
Depends what team he goes to. Like Ryan said, if he goes to Boston, he's not bringing just score points, put the bucket in the basket type player. There's so many things. And I believe this year, and guys, correct me, statistics on the NBA a little bit better than me, but didn't his assist total go up this year compared to previous years where he's been dishing the ball off more, doing things because maybe he's not putting the ball.
I mean, that's always Chris Paul's game.
Right.
Same area.
He's always been an assist guy. And he's not going to go anywhere and have to be the number one option.
Exactly.
That's the other thing. I think if he goes to Boston, he can take nights off. He can only, he can play 55 games. He doesn't have to play the whole season. I think if he goes to the Lakers, though, that's a different story because Anthony
he's
Davis
the third. He's probably the fourth option there.
Okay, so, all right. So with the Lakers scenario,
two guys who are older, like LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Well, he's not older.
AD not old. He play like he's older.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He moves like a 38-year-old.
Yeah.
He moves like everything hurts. But he may have to play more in LA. They may need him to play more.
Brandon, do you think LA is a good fit for him? Because you put him with LeBron. Can they get? Can they?
They're like best friends. I mean, they're
Well, he's the only banana boat guy that hasn't played with LeBron yet. Because everyone else, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, they've all played together except for CP3 and LeBron. As the only Laker fan on the panel, I'm all for it because I'm a CP3 fan too. But none as the starter. Y'all have nobody.
Russell
to start and let CP3 run the second team. Let him come in and run the bench team.
No,
Year 19.
No, that's absolutely no. D'Angelo Russell's not going to be in LA next year because he was unplayable in that last series. I'm sorry. No. I love D'Angelo Russell. I love D'Lo. I saw flashes.
He will not be there.
I saw him flashes of Montverde and Ohio State in the series before, but in that last series, he was unplayable. Like he played himself out of a bag.
But that was
there's one big difference.
He looked terrible though.
Yeah,
you can't
one
have your
big
starter
difference,
not.
guys,
No, he was terrible.
between him going to LA or him going to Boston is that he doesn't make LA an immediate contender, which I mean championship team. He makes Boston a championship.
I mean, Boston is a championship team level right now.
Right, exactly.
I'll throw Boston completely out, just not because of what they have team wise, but because Chris Paul's not moving to Boston. Like that's not happening. So we
I mean, I don't know.
He's not going to go to Boston, Massachusetts.
I have a hard time seeing that too. Like,
I don't see like that would be a spot.
Because he could have went to instead of Phoenix, he could have went someplace else. And
well, you didn't ask where he was going. You said what would be the best fit.
True.
And the best fit.
I think LA though. I think LA will be reasonable. I mean, honestly, man, it might sound crazy, but if they're not going to do nothing with Russ, maybe the Clippers make another run at him.
That's possible.
Bring Chris Paul back to
that's possible too.
I mean, literally, you need a facilitator and a closer.
He still has a house in LA. Like he never left LA. Like he still lives.
I think his kid goes to school. Like they just did an interview. I think his kid goes to school out there. Like his family's there.
What about I've heard from the few Hornets fans that are not afraid to say that. No, we're not doing that. Not bringing him home for a little run.
No.
Chris deserves better. He deserves
better. It was Michael Jordan just wants to throw one more dagger into the Hornets.
He deserves better.
$80 million 2-year deal through and play 20 games and get hurt and then just not
retire before
it would be the worst. It would be the ultimate troll move from Michael Jordan before he sold it.
Just give Chris Paul to max. You know what I'm saying?
But Larry's the only one on the panel that said Chris Paul should retire. Like I'm actually kind of getting to the point where
all right, that's what I was gonna say. If you are going to play at this point, I feel like it needs to be for a championship.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
because I mean, he still can give you 15 and 8
if he's on the court.
If he's on the court, he can give you 15 and 8. Now we know the injury history. You know, there's been some struggles.
A lot of it's like leg injuries and stuff like that. So I mean,
well, he got his hand caught in the guy's jersey that one year. He's trying to make a steal. I think he's with the Clippers.
Yeah. He played for that. Or tried to play.
He like tore the ligaments in his wrist like that. I mean, it's like freak accident stuff.
Yep.
So I went to go look it up. Like I said, I don't like being in another guy's pockets, but he got drafted in 2005. Career earnings: Chris Paul's made $222.5 million in his career.
Well, it's not about money. We know that.
Because I mean, because that's what I'm saying. With him getting cut by the Suns, maybe to come back to the Suns, maybe the Suns are the best option for him.
He still got the State Farm money.
Hey, don't forget about that Jordan money.
And Jordan,
still Jordan brand too. So see, I remember back when like he was in New Orleans and Jordan had just bought the team. Where I think I wrote an article on it where I was like, "Go get Chris Paul. He was in his prime. Bring him back home. It'd be like a story." But this was like 2011 or something like that. It was right around. Yeah, I mean, this was right around when the whole Chris Paul to the Lakers trade got nixed by David Stern, and it was like, okay, well, they got to move him somewhere, and it was like Jordan. He's on Jordan brand. I think I made the same argument for Russell Westbrook to get traded to the Hornets because they're on Jordan brand. It's like,
I mean, if that's the case, we should have a roster.
That's what I'm saying. Carmelo Anthony. I made
Luka's on Jordan brand. Let's go and bring Luka.
Bring them all.
He doesn't use it to his advantage, though. And that's why I don't know if it's illegal to. I don't think it is from everything I can see.
I think Zion needs a change of scenery, too, it sounds like. So.
Does he?
Keep him away from Houston.
Seems like he's just fine. I was like, yo, he's had a lot of idle time. So, I mean, I can't really.
That's why he can't stay healthy. You know why he can't get healthy now.
Yeah, that's why he can't stay healthy.
And my boy got the Riz game. He hooping just off the court.
Yo,
he's living the superstar life.
He a shooter. Who knew? He a shooter.
Yo, but the club he decided to shoot up. Not the club he decided to shoot up, but the girl that found out about it She is not happy.
Well, it's like 3 of them on his head right now.
Oh, is it 3?
There's one that's like 32 years old that's still going in.
Bro, she been going for like 4 days.
Oh, that's the one.
Mariah Mills.
Yeah.
Bro, it's been like 4 days.
I'm not going to go into what her profession is and what she does to pay rent or anything like that. But
she retired.
But still.
I think Zion was her retirement plan, and it ain't panning out.
It sounds like her plan was to make build Zion up into the next LeBron James and just talk him into it.
Hey, I think that just shows, though, just the credit to LeBron coming into the league at 18 and never getting into no nonsense like we seeing with some of these young guys.
Well, he was,
but it's long.
He's got that airtight NDA.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, though. Whatever you got to do, handle your business the right way.
If you really want to sit here and think LeBron James has not done anything.
Do we know about it, though?
We don't know
about it? Exactly. We can all sit here and say, hey, you don't know what but hey, do you know about it? Is it on Twitter? Is it on Twitter?
Rich Paul in the room and says, you got to sign this NDA.
Yeah.
Rich Paul's just standing in the corner.
Could you imagine if they had Twitter? Hey, can you imagine if they had
LeBron, man, clean rap sheet.
Brandon, can you imagine if they had social media when Wilt Chamberlain played?
Oh, my God.
Oh gosh. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to stay in the NBA. Get in the NBA finals.
That's a good point, Larry.
Wood and Magic. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Magic in the 80s.
Lord. Oh, man. We'll move back in just a bit. We'll get into the NBA Finals Game 4 last night. Denver taking control of the series, 108-95 winners of Game 4. Can Miami come back? It feels like every time we dump dirt on the Heat, they just rise from the ashes. Is this the end of the road for the 8-seed Miami Heat? We'll be back in just a bit. You're listening and watching watching the rundown here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and WWBG 1470 AM.
You're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson.
Walkertown Auto Sales. Look no further when shopping for your next vehicle. Located in the heart of the Triad at 3076 Walkertown View Drive in Walkertown, Walkertown Auto Sales specializes in affordable and reliable used cars, trucks, and SUVs. They offer financing with good credit, bad credit, or no credit, with interest rates as low as 3.9%. With knowledgeable employees that are always willing to go the extra mile, you'll drive away with the car of your dreams at Walkertown Auto Sales. Check out the entire online inventory now at WalkertownAutoSales.com. It's summertime, and that means it's time for the Catalinas. The Catalinas are celebrating their 66th anniversary this year, performing across the Carolinas. Proud members of the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame and the Beach Music Hall of Fame. Go to thecatalinas.net for show schedule and to request bookings. For corporate advertising opportunities, call 336-777-6362. It's the Catalinas.
Pardon me, D-Dot here, and as the voice of the Greensboro Swarm, PA for the Hornets, and the sixth man of Carolina basketball, I do it all. Just like Beamer Tire and Auto. Alignments, new tires, NC State inspections, oil changes, they do it all. And with 3 locations in High Point, Greensboro, and Kernersville, B-Dot and B-Tar, yes, we do it all. If you need details, visit BeamerTire.com.
Blue Naples Pizzeria in Kernersville is now hiring. Come work for one of the best Italian restaurants in the Triad. Currently hiring dishwashers, cooks, front cashiers, and more. Great hours, great pay. Give them a call at 336-993-7707 or stop by and inquire at 1519 Union Cross Road in Kernersville. Start working this week. Blue Naples Pizza.
Father Time is undefeated. It's going to hit Tom Brady eventually, too. It might be this year. Hopefully it's this year.
And Matt LaFleur went to both of them and said, hey, remember that play you drew up on notebook paper on Thursday? Yeah, run it now.
Like, that's the thing that's kind of tripping me up here. We've been clowning Kyrie Irving and his behavior for the past 5 years. I feel like I just got a point, like on a show or something.
3, 2, 1, Kernersville, you've got state champions coming back home. The East Forsyth Eagles have just won Class 4A state championship.
On the line with NASCAR superstar Bubba Wallace. Bubba, what type of music are you listening to right now? Do you listen to anything particular to get you hyped before a race?
I'm in like the heavy metal stuff, like the screamo stuff, the stuff you can't understand. That's right up my alley.
Tie game at 41. Murr takes the snap. Fade. Right corner of the end zone for Timmons. He
Oh,
bobbled
my
it
God.
and then honed it in the right corner of the end zone. Terrell Timmons Jr.
TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com, your home for Triad Sports.
This is PJ Washington, and you're listening to Tobacco Road Sports Radio on WWBG 1470 AM, your home of the Hornets basketball and the Triad.
Welcome back to the Rundown here on WWBG 1470 AM. It is our 5th year season finale. I am taking a much needed break. We will be back, I think, mid-July, will be the beginning of season 6. Actually, kind of a newer format, too. I'm kind of changing things around with the Rundown a little bit. It'll kind of resemble a little bit more the way Get Up is. We'll have more of a regular panel. Hopefully, these three will be able to participate in that. And I'm thinking about doing some things like giving guys specific segments. So, like, Brandon can have a specific, 5-minute segment where he gets off a list or something. Larry can do something. Ryan can do something. So, similar to, like, Get Up, we're going to kind of move it around a little bit and change the format a little bit. So, take a little break. Be back from that. Franchise Players is also on spring or summer break as well. It'll be back in July with high school football previews with coaches, players in the area. There's a lot of talent in the Triad coming back for 2023. Grimsley looking really strong. Of course, they fell in the 4A final that we had here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio to New Bern. And one of the damnedest games I've ever seen in high school football. New Bern didn't attempt to pass the entire game, just ran it like 45 times and won it. It was crazy, like watching 1940s Chicago Bears football. And then
Did they beat Independence, Des?
Who? New Bern?
No, Grimsley.
Oh, Grimsley. No, did they beat Independence?
I was checking because we had Coach McFadden on live with Brandon Blakney, so I thought I had seen they had beat him last year.
I don't think no, they ran. They beat Weddington. They played
Yeah.
Weddington in the Western final. The West was loaded. It was ridiculous last year. Just to get out of it was an accomplishment. They played Weddington in the final. I want to say Weddington beat Huff, and Huff beat East.
Huff is the one that's been like the
knocking on the door.
Power school last few years.
Huff and Chambers, and they've gone through some coaching changes, so it'll be unique. But Huff, from my understanding, they're loaded on defense as they usually are. A bunch of 5-star kids going to D1 schools. East Forsyth lost a lot of seniors, but they're loaded as usual. Bryce transferred in.
He's got Bryce Davis, number 25 ranked player in the country.
Yeah. Grimsley's got Bryce Davis. They keep, Grimsley, man, if you go and look back where they were like 5 years ago, 6 years ago to where they are now, Daryl Brown has turned that program into a gym here in the Triad, but it's East Forsyth and Grimsley are kind of looking at each other across the park. Like they are aware of each other. They used to play each other non-conference and then ran out. And now it's like if they see each other, it's in the playoffs. And we almost got it last year. So
I know they're gonna be happy they got to see Jared or Travis Shaw no more up in Grimsley.
We got Bryce Davis. And
Bryce Davis just took over that role.
Oh, is he a D tackle too?
He's DN.
Jeez, they keep him coming.
D-line factory.
Is he a sophomore or junior? I think
he's gonna be a junior, I believe.
Yeah. So they got a freshman
I
quarterback.
saw their quarterback's really good.
Yeah. On Brandon is already got eight.
And then in Kernersville,
they got the two best.
Keeps churning.
They got the two best.
Transferred. Bryce Baker transferred from Walkertown over to East. So
Bryce
I mean,
Baker is,
wait, Bryce Baker transferred there?
Mm-hmm.
I think Des and I said that was going to happen
We had him on live with Brandon Blakney. I just want to say we were first. We had him on live.
Des and I said that was going to happen. Des and I were doing a Walkertown basketball game as a freshman. When he was a freshman, and I looked up his highlights, and we were looking at each other. We were like, "Oh, he's just going to end up transferring to East Forsyth."
Wait, y'all said Bryce went to East? Bryce.
I didn't even know. Like I found out late, and like funny story. Coach Willard was talking. We were talking on the phone because I found out like on Twitter. Like it I think like On3 or somebody had put something up about Bryce, and it was like he's going to East Forsyth. I was like, what? Then I went to his Twitter account. I saw it, and I was like, oh. And I texted.
That's crazy.
I texted Rod. I was like, did you know that this kid? He's like, yeah, I know their family. Blah blah blah. Coach told me like months ago. I'm like, what? And then I asked JP. He was like, yeah, Coach told me like months ago. I'm like. How know the voice of East football? Nobody told me that.
We had him on live with Brandon Blakney. He could have gave us the scoop.
Back in February. Back in February, we had him on live with Brandon Blakney. So I'm like, all right. So I messaged Coach Willard. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, we got him. We're not really trying to blow it up or anything. You know how we do around here. I'm like,
Des, not to add any speculation, Des, but you remember when he came on, he was talking about how he would have to decide between football and basketball as he's getting scholarship offers. And I wonder if that's going to help. Does that kind of sway the decision now?
Well, I know head coach Monty Gray over at East is going to try to get him to play basketball.
Has been made.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Monty Gray over at East is going to try to get him to play a little basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to try. They're gonna try to get that
Also got to throw in Grimsley probably has the best tandem receiving core in the country.
Alex Taylor.
Yeah, I saw Alex Taylor. Man.
Yeah.
Anderson was the one that really blew up last year. Like Anderson,
they're loaded, man. So so we got a lot to get into. We'll have high school football schedule release probably when we're coming back. I think we did around mid-July last year too. So we'll do that and we'll have fun with that. Of course, we're your home for high school football in the Triad. Nobody does it bigger than we do. We'll have minimum 3 live games most of the week or most of the Friday. Some days we'll have 4. So if you want to get in with the top team in the Triad, come check us out in mid-August. It's right around the corner. Special announcement regarding that and a new sports network that's coming to Tobacco Road Sports Radio will be announced in probably about a week or so. All I'll say is it's one of the bigger schools in the area. And we just talked about it.
Dude, I'm still stuck on Bryce to eat. That's tough. That's crazy.
And again, I talked to Willard 2 days ago. And he's like, "Yeah, man, there's a lot of new faces." I'm like, "I'm not really worried about y'all.
They not playing fair.
You'll be fine."
They not playing fair. Golly,
they're trying to come back with a vengeance. So, the NBA Finals last night, I watched this game. Denver just kind of sucked the life out of Miami. It feels like you're watching somebody in like a camel clutch or something, and they're just kind of fading.
Well, you act like you're surprised.
Well, this is
really
exactly.
surprised.
This is exactly what the Heat did the last time they made the finals.
Yes,
This is a so much better team than the Miami Heat. It is so much better. And you look at a night where Jokic, yes, he scored 23 points, but he wasn't his most dominant game that he played. But what happens? They got a supporting cast around him.
You got Bruce Brown getting 20.
Yeah, Brown, Gordon. They came to play. That's the difference between the two teams. And then not only that, look out. I've never seen a team pass the ball. I mean, this team just passes the ball incredibly. They get the ball and they're already thinking about what they're going to do next. And that's a special talent. Not only that, look at what they did. They had 11 steals in that game, created 14 turnovers. They are so much better of a team. I'm surprised that Miami's even won one game. There is no way. I don't even know if Miami can come out and win the next game, even though they're at home. This is a much better team. Anybody that is acting surprised, unless you live in Miami, of course, is just foolish.
I'm surprised that the lack of offense, though, man.
The shooters, 3 games.
The shooters have just gone cold. I mean, Struz.
Well, you know what, Brandon?
Those guys have gone cold.
Brandon, I'm going to tell you something about
Gabe
this Miami
Vincent,
Heat team.
He's trying.
Okay, that people don't realize. They talk about Adebayo, if I pronounced it correctly. Okay, you talk about Butler, but the key to this team, I'm telling you, how they play and how they fare is Kyle Lowry, is how he plays.
I think they missing Tyler Herro really bad right now.
No doubt about that.
I think that's that scoring punch. They're missing 20 points a game right now. And I'm not saying him healthy wins them this series, but 20 points a game from a team like the Heat, that's tough.
Oladipo was on this team and got hurt. Like, if they had Oladipo in this run, it'd be a little bit different. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I didn't expect Miami to get here, but
the thing that's most underappreciated about the Nuggets, kind of like Larry said, is their supporting cast. I mean, they have a supporting cast with like Aaron Gordon, KCP, Bruce Brown. All those guys at one point in their career have been like a 1, 2, or 3 option on another team. Like
Aaron Gordon went off last night.
Yeah, Aaron
he's
Gordon,
hooping.
Yeah, like Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was the best player in Orlando when he was there. KCP was a really good player in Detroit. I mean,
he's perfect for that team too because he can jump out the building, so you can lob it pretty much wherever. And Jokic just kind of figured that out. Where they do the thing where Jokic gets it right there at the free throw line, basically in the middle of the zone, and just kind of does that little one-handed like toss towards the basket. And Gordon's just like right there to get it. They can't defend it. Miami's too small. Like they don't have enough size to really. I mean, Gordon's 6'9", 6'10",
and they've got like Gabe Vincent trying to guard him in the post, and it's
bullied.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, getting bullied like elementary school. Like these literally just backing this dude down like 80s NBA basketball. I'm just like, wow. Yeah.
And Aaron Gordon wasn't shooting the ball like he was in Orlando. Like he's really developed his jumper.
Yeah, last night he was. Yeah, last night he was.
He was 11 of 15 from the field yesterday. 3 or 4 from 3-point range.
I think he's also figured out what he is. Like, when he came in the league, everybody was trying to make him like the next, like another star, and that's not who he is. Like, he's a very good defender too. Like, he probably
and that's okay. He'll end up probably getting 2 or 3 rings in Denver because of it in the end. Because I'm sitting there looking around the Western Conference, and I'm like, okay, people are talking about Phoenix, but Phoenix is really just 2 dudes at this point. Like, they traded off the rest of the team to get Durant. Like, they're not the Phoenix Suns from 2 years ago. That team is in Brooklyn. So it's like
what they gonna do with Aiden?
What are they gonna do? Yeah, we don't know what they're gonna do with Aiden. Lakers, we talked about them. LeBron, he started to show his age a little bit here towards the end of the year. Injuries. He has been hurt every single year he's been in LA, pretty much.
Also, they gotta keep. I mean, Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura's contracts are up. Like, they gotta make decisions there.
I hope
Reeves
it's an official statement, but I thought I saw that the Lakers have already said they're going to match whatever offer Austin Reeves gets. So
yeah, they did.
So which is good. He needs to be back. Rui needs to be back because he fits in well as a third scorer with AD and LeBron. But they do need to figure out the point guard situation. Do not bring in Kyrie Irving to the situation, please.
The Mavericks seem like they're
not do this.
Destined to keep him.
Kyrie's trying to get LeBron to come to Dallas. That makes all the sense in the world.
What in the world? Like, why would LeBron
bro,
his
kid, I want to know what face LeBron made when he read that text message.
This man got 2 kids playing down the street from the old Staples. What?
Like, you want me to go to Dallas to play with you and Luka? Like, what? Like, that's just Kyrie kind of putting ideas, just floating them out there. But I think Kyrie knows that I don't think the Lakers are going to go after him.
And Denver wants to keep him. I mean, they're obviously not a title team, but I think the West is interesting with the Sacramento Kings. They'll keep getting better.
They'll get better.
But I don't know what the hell Memphis is doing or what they're going to do.
Oh, I think Memphis, and that's something we hadn't talked about yet because they're waiting for
how long is John's suspension?
Yeah, they're waiting for the end of the NBA
if he's
Finals.
going for 30 games, bro. And
no, it's more than 30. I think he might.
I mean, they're saying the minimum is 30. I don't think he misses a season, but they saying the minimum.
I think it's probably half the season would be my guess.
It's got to be enough for it to be significant because there's no reason for them to announce that they're going to say it after the NBA Finals unless it's going to be a big deal. Otherwise they just put it out there. But they made a point to be like, oh, we're going to talk about that after the finals. So we can just sit here and just wonder for like 2 weeks, what punishment is Ja going to get? And then Camp. Did you see this? Ja's Camp comes out. This is like 2 months after this happened. They're like, oh, well, that was a toy gun.
Like a lighter.
Well, everybody's saying, like, the league is saying they got proof it was a toy gun. Like, they know it was a toy gun. And they're still.
My thing is, why did you wait so long to say
exactly? Why do you say that immediately on Twitter? Like, no, it's a fake. It's a toy gun. No, they waited.
Why didn't they just come right back on another live and just show that it was like a lighter?
Look,
that would have been the common sense thing.
It's a water gun. No, they're all like see, and that goes back to what I was saying before. It's a difference. I see people trying to like show like there's a picture of like Draymond Green like in military gear, like at a shooting range, like shooting. He's taking a picture. Like, oh, why didn't he get in trouble for this? It's because of what it was represented. Like Ja was representing quote unquote gang culture, like with what he was riding around Memphis, the home of the first 48. You riding around Memphis, Tennessee. with a pistol or fake pistol, whatever it is, you riding around on an IG live in Memphis, Tennessee, where the first 48 was created. Like this is one of the most diabolical cities in the,
let me ask you,
whole country.
Would it have been better if he was like at his home in Montana?
It'd have been better if he didn't do it at all. Like,
I'm just asking though, would it have been more acceptable though if he was on if he was on a ranch somewhere in Montana with a sniper rifle? Would it have been better? Is that what you're saying in your opinion?
Yeah. Like if it was like in a specific setting, like
his house.
Like in the house? No,
like outside. That's what I'm saying. So like they were showing, I think it was like Chris Kaman or somebody. Who was it with the rifle? They were just posing with like their whole family at their house.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Like I seen a 12-year-old holding like an AR-12. That scares me personally.
But
I get it. I get it.
Look, we're in North Carolina, man. We're in an open carry state.
Oh, everybody got the strap.
Well,
I'm up here in New York, man. It's easier to, man. You ain't seeing no guns up here.
That's because if you got one, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
I literally ran
for a long time.
Ask Lil Wayne.
I literally ran into a dude
Ask Sebastian Telfair
in the meat section of Food Line like last week. Like I literally bumped into a guy by accident. I was like, "Oh man, sorry." Look down, dude had like big old like police looking pistol like on his hip. I'm like, oh man, sorry, man. We're in flip flops, of course. He's in there like buying like pot roast or something, and folks need to bring a pistol in there. Like, but you can do it now in North Carolina. So
you get a PS5 and a revolver in the same place in North Carolina.
I'm not like gun ownership and all that stuff. I'm not mad at Ja for owning a gun if he owns one or whatever.
I don't blame him for owning one at all.
Yeah, I'm frustrated with him for having to feel like he needs to flaunt. He has one, like that lifestyle. That's the problem. Like,
it's annoying. It's annoying.
It's Clarence. He's Clarence from 8 Mile. Like, he's like, you don't need to do this, man. we all know your background.
He did have 2 good parents, and they are together, so they must have had a really good marriage.
Had a really good marriage. Went to a really good school.
My favorite is his school pictures. Dressed up in the polo, buttoned all the way up.
Come on, Clarence. You don't need to do all this. You about to get a Supermax too? You out here flaunting guns?
He went to Memphis and everything changed.
Man,
see, first 48. I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, the first 48 is one of the greatest television shows in history. You got to go. Like, I can see Josh sitting at that table. They're offering him a cheeseburger to say something. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to be in that world, and you don't need to be because you're worth $250 million. Like, leave it behind. The guys in Memphis that do this every day, they would switch places with you in a second. So
that's what I want. Yeah, like that's the other thing is he doesn't need to carry the gun.
No, you got
around you
like other people. Yeah, you're not supposed to be holding it, John.
Chris Carter gave a whole lecture about this.
That's actually an excellent point.
Point of the entourage.
Like, you're supposed to have somebody else there with you. Your man that just got out.
He's the fall guy.
Do we
take the charges?
Is there any chance at all that Miami can win 3 straight here? It's only happened once before, and that team had LeBron James.
Unless they have LeBron from Miami.
He had to have Kyrie with him, and they had to drop a couple 40-point games.
I don't know if they win another game.
I think this might.
I thought Jimmy was good for 2, but yeah, I don't know. It's looking unlikely.
I think Jimmy's hurt. Something. It feels
he's
like
tired.
His foot. He could be. He's been carrying the team.
I'm about to see another picture from like the one from the bubble.
He's been carrying the team for 2 months. Like we haven't seen.
I'm not sure. I think we're being honest. Like, and I think we saw it. I don't even know. Like, the Heat were the better team early in that Boston series, but 3 of the last 4 games they looked awful, with the exception of Game 7.
Yeah, they held on. Yeah. This Heat team, honestly, what it really comes down to for them is their 3-point shooting. Like all the stuff we just dissected, when they come out hot from 3, they usually win. And when they shoot under like 36%, they usually lose. Like that game 2 that they won against Denver, they shot like 48% or something nuts from 3-point range. And like everybody was hitting, but you can't count on that every game. And they don't have enough size in the paint to bang with Denver. So it's like, this was just a bad matchup for Miami to begin with.
Terrible.
But Denver's a bad matchup for a lot of teams. I'm learning now that I've watched them for a couple of weeks. They're the perfect example of why I don't like the microwave creation of teams that's happened over the past 10 years, where you get a guy and another guy, you put them together, you just throw some stuff around them and hope that they can make it work. Like the LeBron thing, the Miami Heat thing, it kind of started right there.
Boston Celtics thing.
But see, I don't count them because the players that put that team together, the GMs did.
Boston Celtics
put together.
Nah. Didn't Charles Barkley go and join Olajuwon and them boys? I'm just saying.
They were like late 30s when it happened.
I'm just saying it's been happening. We're not gonna put that on LeBron.
No, we can put this on LeBron because he's done it everywhere he's gone since.
LeBron,
like he did in Miami.
He's not the originator. He just perfected it. He's not the originator. Yeah. He's won with 3 different franchises.
I don't know if he's the originator, but he made it.
He's definitely not the originator.
He made it.
I give that. He showed players the power that they can have.
Yeah.
But see, it cheapens it for me because it's almost like you're taking a shortcut. And then plus, the past couple of years, those teams haven't won. Like last year, Golden State won. Their core was all drafted. The year before that, Milwaukee won. Their core was pretty much all drafted.
Andrew Wiggins,
they should have. Well, Wiggins is a whole other story where it's like
he hooping. He was an all-star.
The Cavs should have never traded off Andrew Wiggins, in my opinion. Like they should have kept him. Instead of Kevin Love, they should have kept Andrew Wiggins to pair with LeBron. LeBron might still be in Cleveland today.
I think at the time though, Kevin Love fit that team. That would have hampered Wiggins' development.
You think? I don't know because
they played the same position.
Well, I think LeBron wanted
Kevin Love.
Yeah,
we needed somebody that was ready to play.
He don't like playing with rookies at this point.
Like it would have hampered him.
But I mean, it's just like it feels like it's going back to that old school method of in Denver today. Their whole core. I mean, Aaron Gordon came in off of a trade, but pretty much their core. Porter Jr., Jokic was a second-round pick.
Murray.
Yeah, I mean they're all
Jamal
drafted
Murray.
by the team, and they've been together. Like Mike Malone's been the coach for 8 years, so
They're
which
still
never happens.
still working. They're still working. They made a trade yesterday.
Oh, to get that pick.
Second round pick.
What did they trade again? I saw your tweet.
They just traded picks.
I think they just swapped second round picks.
Well, they got a first round pick too in this year's draft, or either this year or next year's draft. They got a first round.
They have 37 and 40 in the second round.
And Denver got a first round pick for next year too.
I think we talked about this last week with Charlotte in terms of Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller. I was on Scoot all of last week, and now I'm starting to shift back to Brandon Miller a little bit.
You can't make up your mind.
I really can't. Well, the media is confusing me because they're like, well, all indications show that they're looking at Brandon Miller. I'm like, he hasn't even worked out here yet. Like, how is that? Well, he did now. But when they were saying it, he hadn't even been here yet. So Mitch and those guys, they're going to base it off the workouts. But I'm starting to look at like his size and what he can do. He's 6'9".
Mike's going to surprise everybody and draft Caleb Love.
Huh?
Mike's just going to surprise everybody and draft Caleb Love.
With the number 27 pick in the first round, Caleb Love, like, no, actually,
I'll say he's going to do number 2 overall. He's just going to be can't make up. He's going to be like Dennis. I can't make up my mind between these two guys, so we're just going to get the UNC guy.
Might as well get a Carolina guy.
Carolina dude. I mean, just having 2 6'9" dudes in your backcourt, like to grow with like Miller and LaMelo, that Mark Williams at center. Because to me, it's like if you have a top 4 pick, if you have 2 of them in like a 4-year stretch, you have zero excuse to get this wrong. Like you should be able to get 2 guys that can be cornerstones for the next 10 years. LaMelo, that worked out in your favor almost by accident. And now you got this second pick in a draft where there's basically 2 guys you can pick from. Both of them kind of got not really baggage with them, but
here's the thing that I like. If you take Scoot Henderson to me, that says that you don't think you're keeping LaMelo.
See, I think they got a good shot to keep. I mean, they can offer more money than anybody else, especially if Jordan sells the team. Like, they'd be fool if the Hornets let LaMelo Ball walk. I
have a choice ultimately. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of guys aren't turning down that second contract though. That cheese is hard to say no
That's
to.
True.
It's a lot. I mean, he should get it.
So if they feel like they can keep him, then I would say Brandon Miller.
I mean, it makes sense.
What do you think about because I know Ryan and Brandon especially follow college basketball really deep. What do you think about Gigi Jackson at 27?
I think he's going to be an absolute steal. He's a kid that I scouted in high school. He's young for his group right now. He skipped his senior year, but he led South Carolina in scoring. They weren't a really good team, but he had some maturing to do there. I think that he kind of had to earn the respect of the older guys that have been there, and there were some issues in the locker room between those guys. The team dynamic was a little bit of a power struggle. But I think when he gets to the league, I mean, he's 6'9", played a 3, played a 4, shoots the ball, athletic.
For a year. Put him in Greensboro for a year or 2.
He's explosive.
I think him or Whitehead at 27 could be a steal. And
Whitehead's good, man.
Yeah.
I agree.
Either one of those guys, I think, is a steal at 27.
He's talking about the kid from Duke?
Yeah. Okay. He was like the top high school player.
He was the top high school player. He was hurt a lot last year. He started to play better towards the end of the season.
He did.
I remember that. Yeah, he's a good 3-point shooter.
I mean, I don't know if they could pull it off, but even Imani Bates in the second round, I think is going to be absolutely.
That's another one too.
They had him in for a workout. They had him in for a workout. So yeah, I mean, and I'm looking at him like I remember these kids being like number 1 in their class, number 2 in their class. Like the talent is there. It's just a matter of.
And they have 3 early second round picks too, right?
Yeah, they got 5 total. So
I mean, Imani Bates was on Sports Illustrated before we even knew who Victor Wembanyama was.
Right. Yeah. So I'm curious what the Hornets do here because we've got enough young talent. Like I want to see them take the ascension Denver did over the 5-6 years where they keep a core together, they grow together. You add a couple of vets as you go, and then you get to a point. You still got to have a top 10 overall guy. Like you still need a top 10 dude to get you to where Denver is now. And clearly, Nikola Jokic is a top 10 guy. Like, he's a top 2 guy. He might be the best player.
I think he's the best player in the league. It's hard to say he's not at this point.
Which is ridiculous because he can only jump 3 inches off the ground, but he does everything else. Like everything else he does.
Nobody's figured it out.
It's hard not to. It's hard to say he's not the best. The dude doesn't miss a shot in the lane.
Nope.
Wasn't he a late round pick?
Yeah,
second round.
I mean, the stuff that he
during a
throws
Taco Bell
up
commercial.
is
Like they went to a Taco Bell commercial when he got drafted, and like it was on the banner underneath. So like
still makes me wonder how did he get to wear Melo's number? Like that is so disrespectful.
That is weird. I never thought about that, but yeah, how come they didn't do something with
I guess because the relationship wasn't great at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
But now, I mean,
now I got to decide which one they're going to retire.
Sorry for Melo.
Yeah,
he get the New York Knicks jersey retired though, so he'll be good.
He'll be, that's probably the one he wanted anyway. Before we get out of here, though, I had to address the whole Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp thing. I had it on here from last week. We didn't get a chance to get to it. It appears there's going to be a divorce on Undisputed. Skip and Shannon to part ways. I was drawn to the story because it kind of reminds me of what happened with me and Josh Graham a couple of years back. And I always get asked, what's the deal with y'all? What's going on? Do y'all hate each other? Blah, blah, blah. We're fine. We're totally fine. Like I think for me, and I've never really said this on airwaves before. I don't think he really has addressed it either. But when you work with somebody in this media environment, like in that type of environment for a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's almost like your working marriage to a certain extent. So there's going to be good and there's going to be bad. You're going to see certain warts on the other person that you might not have noticed a year ago, or you're going to hear the same stories, or you know what I mean? Like it's going to get to the same narrative. And like I think with me and him, towards the end, I do remember we weren't necessarily like fighting with each other. I think we were just getting weary of where we were, like where the show was. Like it needed to be something different. And I think we both knew the writing was on the wall. We just didn't know exactly how it was going to go down. And then when it actually went down, I was fine with it, but I was more upset as time went on. I became more upset with the company than I was with him. And now that company doesn't even own WSJS anymore. So for those that have asked, I mean, we saw each other at the ACC tournament during the finals. Me, him, and JP talked for a little bit. I've called in. We text regularly. Like we're still friends, but it's almost like a Mike and the Mad Dog type of element where like, will we do another show together again? Probably not. I don't think we would. I totally respect his work ethic and what he does. I don't think anybody works harder in terms of putting a show together in the state. So from that, learned a lot working with him. But this Skip and Shannon thing kind of reminded me that you can have two people that don't agree like on anything. And that was the main thing with me and him, me and Josh. We didn't really agree on any sports topic. He would be one side and I'd be the other. But that was the thing that people liked, like in the Triad. Like we kind of had that Mike and Mad Dog dynamic going on in the Triad. And it's not really there anymore because of we just couldn't figure out how to keep it going. But shout out to Josh, shout out to WSJS. I do business with them right now, which is strange in terms of full circle coming back around. They actually help handle my A&T production for football and basketball stuff. So we do have a working relationship. We do, and who knows, maybe something does happen down the road. But Skip and Shannon, it's a little different because we never personally attacked each other. And I think Skip personally attacked Shannon a couple of times on air. The Hamlin incident in Buffalo was probably the thing that kind of pushed it over. But
wait, what happened with that?
You know, the dude that had cardiac arrest on the field.
No, I know that, but what were their arguments?
Skip put out a tweet while the dude's laying on the field, basically talking about, well, how's the NFL going to finish this game? They need to finish this game, but it seems like blah, blah, blah. Shannon didn't show up to work the next day because of it. Then he came in, he gave a little monologue right at the very beginning, and Skip cut him off in the middle of the monologue. And Shannon, he was gonna flip the table. Like he took his glasses off.
That's when that clip where he's like, "Put your glasses back on."
Yeah, he's just like, dude, like you won't even let me sit here and explain like why I wasn't here yesterday and what was going on without you butting in. And from that point on, they have been just kind of a little bit off. And like, who would be best to replace Shannon? And where should Shannon go? Like, do you think Shannon ends up on ESPN?
I mean, you know, Stephen A is calling for it. He's the LeBron over there, so maybe
Stephen A, Michael Irvin, and Shannon Sharp on Mondays.
I think they would have to do something with Michael Irvin. That's a little too much espresso in your coffee that early.
That's what it is. Espresso.
Get rid of Michael Irvin if you get Shannon.
But
I don't know if that's espresso. If that's what they call it now.
We know it's not espresso. We know it's not.
You know something.
We know
I've never seen a man sweat like so.
This man has been caught multiple times.
He sweats.
I wouldn't go.
Michael Irvin sweats thickly. You know what I'm talking? Like it's a thick sweat. Like it's not like it's like a coating of sweat.
Put my man out there.
Like every Monday. He's like a preacher, man. But can you imagine him and Shannon Sharp and Stephen A on a first take panel for football on Mondays, and Dan Orlovsky like just catching straight?
That's a lot of espresso in your coffee that early. That's all. That's a lot to take in, man.
Who could you see sitting in front of Skip? I saw Max Kellerman's name pop up, and I was like,
I saw also.
And you know what? I dislike
oddly
both of
LaShawn
them.
McCoy.
you look like who's
I think Max Kellerman and Skip Bayless are two individuals that don't care who they bring down, what cause, as long as they get a name for themselves. And I said that about both of them. You know, Kellerman did it with Brady. You see, Skip did it with Shannon, just in a Brady situation, also kind of ironic. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm sorry. You know, I know you can go to debating school and they tell you to pick on the other guy and get under their skin and all this stuff. It's wrong. What Skip Bayless did, what Max Kellerman does, is completely wrong. It's about the topic at hand, not about the individual across the table you're talking to. And when you start going and you pass that line of attacking your debater, it is completely wrong. And if you ask me, I would have gotten rid of Skip Bayless and kept Shaw.
Yeah.
Facts,
you can replace Skip.
I mean, especially he's younger for one.
Mm-hmm.
And Skip doesn't know anything
right now.
Skip talks Dallas Cowboys, Patriots, LeBron James, and
a little OKC Thunder. That's about it.
That's it.
But at the end of the day, first of all, you know, and I'm not saying you got to play the game, okay? But Skip has a hell of a ball. Shannon has a heck of a lot more knowledge that I want to listen to than Skip does.
He took his podcast, Club Shay Shay, with him, so he'll be taking that with him wherever he goes. I think he'll probably end up at ESPN.
As far as his replacement, I mean, the anti-LeBron rhetoric. I mean, and you know that's what that show's kind of built on is somebody defending LeBron and somebody hating on LeBron. Nick Wright. I think Nick Wright makes a lot of. I mean,
Nick Wright be knowing his stuff too, man. He's a guy that usually has like the numbers to back up at least what he says. Some logic.
He does. Yeah.
I've seen like Chris. Well, no. I've seen a lot of people say no to Chris Broussard. He's already on First Things First.
Yeah.
And
I ain't gonna lie. I would like to see Rob Parker. That would be hilarious.
Say, Rob Parker
that would be
live
hilarious.
right in, right there. That would be him and Skip.
I've seen LaShawn McCoy's name being thrown around too.
You got to have somebody that'll stand up to Skip. You can't have somebody that'll just let him run all over you with his stuff, and that's what makes it work. You know, because we've actually ran out of time here. But the same thing happened with Skip and Shannon. Kind of happened on First Take with Stephen A. and Max. Because I mean, Max was only supposed to be there for like 2 years, and ended up being there like 8. And like you kind of saw it. I remember watching those shows towards the end before they announced he was leaving, and you could tell that Stephen A. and some of the panel members had just had enough of Max. Like anytime they talked basketball, they just completely just poo-pooed his opinion on it. As soon as he said it, like, Max, you don't know anything about basketball. We're just going to ignore everything. They got to that point.
He's a boxing guy.
But he makes good points here and there, but they just completely just pushed him off. And then the fact that if you listen to ESPN now or watch it now, Stephen A. doesn't mention Max. Max doesn't mention Stephen A. They're on completely separate times. Like they literally are using the same sets, but like Max is in there in the afternoon. He's on the radio in the morning. Stephen A. is on the radio in the afternoon.
Max is also on the way out.
Huh?
Max is also on the way out as far as his own show. Like that's where Pat McAfee's going.
Oh yeah, and that was
that
was probably a good move too. So you could see
Max going over at Fox Sports. That might save ESPN as far as radio and everything.
Especially if they're going to let him keep his format the way it is, and his stuff on YouTube the way it is, which is what I think he was asking.
He's nuts.
McAfee's great. I like him.
Great. He's entertaining too, man.
He is entertaining.
It's like him. I think that's the ESPN's way of saying that they messed up with Levitard and letting them go off and do their thing. They should have worked something out to keep him, because Levitard was Pat McAfee before Pat McAfee, pretty much, with the way that they do their show, and now they've built up their whole individual sports pod empire over there off of their brand, where it was with ESPN. Like Mina Kimes came from that, you know, like they're building something where they're going to be able to start poaching people from ESPN, and I think ESPN knows it, so they're trying to build up their stuff now. We got to go. Like I said, this was the season finale. I'm pretty sure we're done for season 5. When we're back, rundown, we'll have new graphics, we'll have new music, we'll have all kinds of new stuff, and we'll be back in time to start previewing. NFL training camps will be in action. My boy Bryce Young is now the listed at number 1 with the Panthers. So we'll get into all that stuff. A lot of stuff will be coming back in July. But stick around. Out of pocket from yesterday. I'll be on in just a bit. We'll be back in about a month or so. So peace to everybody. Follow us on our YouTube channel. There's still programming on throughout the summer. YouTube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. You can catch live with Brandon Blakney. Frankly speaking, baseball's all this summer, so you can get your baseball fix with Larry. He'll be covering MLB all summer long, so definitely get with him. We're out. Have a good Saturday. Go watch Wake.
Hey.